So, it seems as if you got the itch to start wanting to play some hockey. Don't worry, we've all been there, myself included, obviously, which is why I'm making this video for you. Whether you grow up in an area where hockey is popular and you want to start trying to fit in, whether you've been watching a lot of professional hockey lately, whether it be the NHL or the PWHL, and that's inspired you to play, maybe you've got some friends or some family members that currently play or used to play and you'd like to join them. Or maybe even, hopefully, some of my videos have inspired you to want to start playing. Regardless though, you want to start playing the great game known as hockey. And I'm here to help you out with that. In fact, it won't just be this video that I will be making. I'm actually going to be starting a series on how to start playing hockey, breaking down step by step on what you need to do and breaking it down into certain videos. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I kind of switched up my background a little bit. I thought this was a little bit more creative and kind of dips into my personality a little bit, since I will be in front of the camera a little bit more, so you guys will get to know me a little bit more personally than just me filming in front of a door. So in today's video, we'll be talking about how to start playing hockey. In fact, it won't just be today's video. This will actually be the start of an ongoing series that I'll be doing on my channel, breaking down each part fundamentally that you need to get out there and start playing hockey. Now, I do want to make it known that this is particularly for ice hockey, but it does not stop there. This does apply to different kinds of hockey as well, whether it be roller hockey or ball hockey. So you guys can still take all this information and the tips that I will give you guys and apply it to your style of hockey, i.e. roller or ball hockey. A lot of people are faced with the question on how to start, especially in today's modern age. I have a friend who's just now getting into hockey, and I've been giving him tips along the way, and honestly, it's what inspired me to make this video in the first place, because I've even been plagued with this question myself. I like hockey, I want to start playing, how do I go about that? So unless you were born into this family that is just crazed about hockey and you were essentially set to start playing since the moment you were born, this might not really apply to you, but it still counts. These days, hockey equipment is very expensive in some regions of the country. As far as the US goes, it is hard to obtain ice time and be able to actually get out there, whether the ice is too expensive or you live in a region where there is no ice at all, which again, I will be breaking down in different videos in this series. But to get to the root of it all, I must share my hockey journey. So essentially, my story starts in roughly 2013. I had just moved from Iowa to Florida, and I was just starting high school in the fall. The friends that I had at the time were insanely into hockey. They loved hockey, they loved watching it, and they had aspirations to play it. Now for me, I had no idea what hockey was. I had seen some highlights on like SportsCenter. I had known some things about it through friends and whatever, but I had never played, I had never even watched an actual hockey game. And it truly wasn't until I actually started to sit down, watch games, aka became a fan of my St. Louis Blues, and truly started to appreciate what I was watching. And growing up, I played multiple sports. You can even see this picture of me playing soccer in high school. And I was always down to try new sports. So when hockey came into my mind, I thought it would be so exciting to play. A sport where you had the physicality of football, the hand-eye coordination of basketball, the passing precision like in soccer or even basketball. It intrigued me. I just remember fantasizing and essentially just manifesting over and over again on what it would be like to play hockey, where it became literally an obsession. And while some of the friends that I mentioned were able to buy equipment pretty much right away and start playing, I had to take a backseat approach and take things a different route. As I said earlier, hockey equipment is expensive. And as a high school kid who didn't have a dollar to his name or even work throughout high school, I had to do whatever I could to get my hands on equipment. Things truly started when I started becoming a rink rat at my local rink, where I'd go to public skates and really just get the feel down of what it was like to skate on ice, because I had never done so before. And then I'd go home and I'd attempt to skate with inline rollerblades, going up and down the street, back and forth my driveway relentlessly, where it'd be the first and only thing that I did as soon as I got home from school. Eventually, I was lucky enough to find a wooden street stick at my local Goodwill, and I just kept going from there, where I would practice with a tennis ball, and I'd practice stick handling and skating with a puck, essentially. And then what seemed like forever, I was finally able to get my hands on a good source of hand-me-down equipment. I was able to get a helmet, some shoulder pads, some leg pants, some shin pads, some elbow pads. I was ready to go. The only thing I was missing at that time was skates, a stick, and then some gloves. So until I could afford that, I went back out in my driveway with some of my new equipment, and I just kept working. I'd say roughly about a year and a half had passed since the moment that I wanted to start playing to the time that I was able to get all of my equipment and truly start playing. So I'd say the summer before my junior year of high school, I was finally able to join a hockey league that was for beginner players. It was a local house league that my rink had done, and they took in players of all skill sets. We had official practices and we had official games. We even had official coaches. And my coach really took the time to work with me and get me to improve on my skating and improve on certain skill sets that I needed to truly succeed on the ice. And even though that I had some pretty decent speed for a beginner, I couldn't back skate for nothing, and my coach decided to put me on defense. And that's where I officially fell in love with it. Because I'm twisted in the head like that, I have enjoyed playing defense in pretty much any other sport that I've played throughout my entire life. And for some reason, playing defenseman just stuck with me, and I loved it. I didn't care about offense. I didn't care about trying to score goals. All I cared about was stopping the other team from scoring and being a little physical while I was at it. Which pretty much leads us to where we are today, where a lot of time, a lot of YouTube videos, and playing a whole bunch has led me to where I'm at today. I even learned how to play goalie all by myself. I got super lucky with being able to get the equipment that I did to start playing goalie, which you have seen in previous videos. In fact, it'll almost be 2 years since I taught myself how to play goalie, and I've even come pretty far with that. So to sum up my story, it takes a lot of dedication. I'll also add that being able to work a job and pay for your own ice time and new equipment helps out a lot. But I tell you this story and my journey to playing hockey to tell you this. It's that if you are truly committed to playing this great sport, it will take some time and it will take some money. And I'm not telling you guys to go out, break the bank on some brand new pro line equipment. I am not saying that whatsoever. I'm telling you guys that this day and age, there is a way to go about it and you can still be smart about it. I'm telling you guys that if you are passionate enough, you can make it work. So my first official step in becoming an ice hockey player goes back to what I talked about in the beginning of the video. Figure out your why. If you don't have a good why on why you want to start playing hockey, you probably won't be playing for very long. Hockey is a very tedious sport that you only get good at by playing a bunch. You truly have to commit to playing hockey in order to get better in any sense. So do not be surprised if first thing off the bat, once you step on the ice for the first time, you fall, you're not really understanding what you're doing, kind of hard to get around. That's okay. Everybody has to start somewhere. But the key here is to try and try again. Like I said, starting to play hockey will take some commitment, and it does take a little bit of passion. So clearly, since you're watching this video, you already have a pretty big enough why, which leads me to my next point. How resourceful is it for you to start playing hockey? And by resourceful, I mean, how likely is it for you to play in your area? Now, if you live in Canada or some state in the US that truly just eats, breathes, and sleeps hockey, then you're probably fine. But if you live in a rural area somewhere in the southern part of the United States, or in a city where hockey isn't exactly recognized as much, it might be a little harder for you to play. And I don't ask you that to discourage you from playing if it doesn't seem like it's very resourceful. Because again, it goes back to point number one, which is going to your why. And I'm not saying it to discourage you by asking that question. It simply just reflects my first point of what is your why? How strong is your why? Because it does take some dedication. Because again, I started playing hockey in pre-Panther Lightning Stanley Cup eras. So hockey was not as big in Florida as it is current day. There were options as far as where I could play, but there were not many. But I still took it upon myself to be able to make it to the rink and continue playing. And while talking about being resourceful, it doesn't even include what your day-to-day looks like. If you're like me, where I was a high school kid with no money trying to play a very expensive sport, what does that look like for you? Let's say you're an older age where athleticism is not really on your side anymore. You've got a family at home. How can you make that work? My answer to that simply is hockey is for everybody. It's a slogan that the NHL has thrown around for a couple years when it comes to pride, but I truly think that hockey is for everyone. No matter the age, the gender, sexual orientation, the race, anybody can play if you truly put your mind to it. Which leads me to my third and final step as far as just evaluating whether you want to play or not. What kind of player do you want to be? And I mean that as in, do you want to be a forward? Do you want to play defense? Do you want to maybe play goalie? Do you want to be the kind of player that's known for their hands, their shot, their skating, their technique? There's a lot of things that go into it, and it's something that you need to think about. I will say that if you have previously played a sport before, you're at a tad bit of an advantage because you do kind of have a feel on what kind of player that you are. Meanwhile, if this is the first sport that you're trying to actively pick up, that is completely okay. You can figure that out for yourself, or if you decide to go down the route where you decide to hire some coaches or you pick up a beginner league that has people actively teaching, like some leagues offer, then that coach can help you figure that out. Now, it will never be my place to try and argue or tell somebody who can or cannot play the great game of hockey, but I do want to reiterate that the beginning stages are pretty tough. If you have a hard time dealing with failure, if you do have some health issues with like high-end spurts of cardio, or you have some head trauma issues where running into people, falling ideally is not the safest for you, I recommend that you probably look into some other different alternatives, especially when it comes to ice hockey and roller hockey. If you talk to your doctor and figure out that starting to play hockey is for you, then by all means, go ahead and do it. As I said previously, it does take a lot of perseverance to start playing hockey. You essentially have to learn from failure a lot. Now, you probably already figured this out for yourself, but there are actually a lot of benefits to starting to play hockey. There, of course, are many benefits to starting to want to pick up and play hockey. One of them being that you're actively engaging in a hobby. Another one being that you're actually pretty active. It is a workout. You're going to be getting in a lot of cardio and sweating a bunch. It helps build community. I've made plenty of friends playing hockey, and I've actually learned some pretty good life lessons while playing hockey, like perseverance, leadership, being goal driven, pun intended. There are a lot of ways that hockey can benefit your life, and I can continue sitting here explaining that to you, but I'd rather have you find out for yourself. So for those of you who haven't made their minds up yet and still need to do some soul searching, I hope that this video really helped you out and made you kind of decide a couple things. As I said at the start of this video, this will be an ongoing series that I will be doing. So in the future, I'll be making more videos in an active series, like I said at the beginning of this video, where I'll be talking about how to get your own equipment. So figuring out sizing and costs. I'll be talking about rinks and how to find one and how to actively become a rink rat. I'll be talking about leagues and kind of leagues and how to evaluate your own talent and what kind of league you should go into personally. I'll be talking about off-ice training, so ways that you can get better on the ice. And while I am no active coach, I am probably a little underqualified to try and coach somebody. I at least know a couple of basic things that can help you with like skating, stick handling, and like shooting. So a little bit of a quick one today. This was just sitting down talking to you guys about how hockey is great and how you should start playing. So if you guys enjoyed the video and are looking forward to the next part in our series, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends. Let people know that this world needs more hockey players. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.